got some super vitality for you in the shop. All you guys go in there and enter in the coupon code. Get your shopping order in for super vitality. Some of you guys don't know this, but all my books come with a free dose of super vitality. It's written in the words. It's a code vitality. I'm not muted. Good. Hello, all. Happy Friday. Good to be here. Thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me that gooey witness. It's good to see you. This is going to be tricky. You guys are going to be able to say a lot more things in the chat than I'm going to be able to say here. So that's just sort of, just something to kind of keep in mind. Okay. So, topic today, we'll let her speak. We will let her say it. Let me just switch this over here. And make sure I'm not muted. Let's see, this should work. No, I'm going to have to turn on desktop. Don't want you guys to miss any of her fine words. Here we go. Bloop.
I'm now going to read the answers given by those jurors. Just the answers. Question 1A, $50,000. Question 1B, $10,000. Question 1C, $50,000. Question 1D, no dollars. Question 2A, $1.5 million. Question 2B, $500,000. Question 3A, $1.5 million. And question 3B, $500,000.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
Is this your verdict? The 10 of you who signed it. So say each and all of you, all 10 of you.
Yes.
All right. Would the attorneys care to inspect the verdict?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right.
And so it concludes. 4.4, I believe, is the total number of what it costs Alex Jones today. I believe there's another settlement tomorrow, I think. There's like another charge, I think. The jury has not been released. I can tell you that this judge is very, very open to the idea of, conspiracies. She is all over the woke train. And when it comes to understanding that the importance of staying home and saving lives, the importance of love during the month of Pride, and the importance of never stopping at the top, vote for every Democrat. And now I am not here to say, well, she needs to be a Republican. You guys know that. I think it's hilarious that people are like, the left ass cheek is far worse than the right ass cheek because your heart is on the right side and the schmigmay ball sweat tends to cling to the left butt cheek more. Therefore, as we live here in our butt crevice of a nation, it is clearly the better answer to be on the right cheek, right? We've been out of that for a while, and Alex Jones is. I think Alex Jones is every man. I think he's every man, and I think certainly he has an addiction to attention. But on this show, we think human witness is gold. It's more valuable, actually. So. That's a pretty good thing to be addicted to. If you're going to have an addiction to something, being addicted to attention is not the worst thing. It'd be better than being addicted to all the other evil stuff, right? That we could come up with, that we have, that's there, that are options. And what I like about the icon of Alex is that the fact that so many people make fun of him is proving that truth is in the room. Truth is completely in the room, and the ridicule that Alex Jones absorbed is directly reflects the amount of denialism we have about the truth that's around us. The truth will always be in the room. It will always find a way to be present. Even if it's in denial, you're still going to see that truth in the room. And I watched probably too much of this trial. I mean, I certainly haven't done a thorough job, but I've watched a couple of hours of the different videos that are out there and whatnot to surmise what I can. I found the trial to be rather pointless and boring. I found both attorneys to be pretty weak, to be honest with you. I get the strong nagging suspicion that the trial itself is a hoax, which I think is pretty funny because the underlying theme of what the trial is about is already enough of a hoax sandwich that throwing this extra pumpernickel layer that I've done here of hoax around it is probably not helping the situation. However, it does look to me very strongly, it looks to me as if something about this plea deal required that this court case occur. Something about maybe criminal charges, something about maybe something in Jones's past. I don't know what. I'm not even trying to plant something in his past, but I want you to please just think for a moment. I know it's so tiring to have the hoax glasses on. I know that. But just put them on. Just stop bitching. Just put them on for a sec. Because when Owen Schroyer, Alex Jones, these guys, Paul Joseph Watson, these guys are pinnacle elite attention whores. And I please go back a few moments to hear what I said about this. That I'm saying they're elite, which means they are willing to dope like Lance Armstrong. They want to be in this field. They want to be in this river. And these guys are notorious for finding excuses to exacerbate the situation for no other purpose than the gaining of attention. We've seen Alex do this very firsthand at a gun rally. Sorry I don't have the video there. It just came to me. But if you have any questions at all about that, I urge you to go look at the video of him at the gun rally, and you see a better look at the personality. Now, the personality doesn't make the information any more false as the personality makes the information any more true. It's part of the success of Alex has been his ridiculous personality. This is the sacred clown, my friends. Alex Jones is a sacred clown. And he's so sacred that you and I don't even know who he's working for, and I don't think he does either. This is part of the evacuation. And it's maybe the word's wrong, evacuation. His saturation is deeply entrenched in elsewhere, and one of those elsewheres would be the attention. That attention makes you dope, like Lance Armstrong. It makes you want to dope things. But that very attention is precisely what's allowed Alex Jones to say and thrive and survive so deeply and so longly as he has. If he did not have this tar and feather aura around him, there's no way he'd be in the room. There's no way he'd be in the room. And if you follow the equation, you'd see anyone else trying to fill that room. They would try too, and some would be trying suave. Some would try and be like me and be all like, well, I'm just going to approach this with authenticity. And you see how that audience is received. But this is male vitality right now. If you come into the store and you buy Best Apocalypse Ever, you open that book, by the time you get page 3, you're going to have a boner. It's not going to go away till you close that book. It's not going to do it. And they're afraid, worried about it. That's how about the thin blue lines because of our thin red line. Because we got one because globalism is male vitality, 50% of the store. That Alex wants this more than me, and that sucks because I'd really, really want my show to do well. I love doing the show. And I'm constantly mesmerized by how much I don't want this as much in relation to what I see other people are doing. Hey man, they're eating faces down there below. Children's faces, they're eating them down there below. And I'm like, fuck, I can't hit that note. I can't. I'll try. They're eating children. They're eating. I can't find a source. I'm sorry. I can't find the. I see a lot of pizza. I see a lot of Parmesan cheese. I see a lot of references. I can't say the line. I'm like one of those tiresome actors who has gotten into the role of James True so fucking hard that I'm on set, which is life, and everyone's having to fucking tolerate me because I'm a method actor who's playing this authentic dude. That's pretty much what it's like. It's got to be a pain in the ass. I apologize. I would say ahead of time, but I apologize posteriorly. But this is how it goes. If you want me on your set, I'm a method actor. I'm going to be playing this character, James True, and I'm going to be taking it serious all the fucking time. Whatever you bring to the trailer, it's going to have to be, you're going to have to play along. You're going to have to pretend that I am James True. And that I have these issues with things, and that I can only deliver lines that have been presupposed by my somatic agent, right? The agent who books all of my gigs, reads over every script, and cannot say certain things. That's all. That's all. That's the best I can do. And Alex isn't that way. Many people are not that way. And we've caught Alex. People have caught Alex. And I don't see how you could not. If you're running a live stream, hours a day, if you were running a network like that, your entire world is built off the speculation. And there's a reason why it's actually healthy to speculate. There's a reason why the doubt train that is Alex Jones is absolutely necessary in this world, and that it was forced on you, and it was forced on me. Let's get to it. Boom, 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 boom. It's time to hit the music. This goes all the way back to 1942. This gentleman, believe it or not, is mooned. This is mooned. Whoops, that's the judge. This is mooned. That's the dude behind Smith-Mundt. And Smith-Mundt is the act developed to regulate broadcasting programs for foreign audiences, produced under the guidance of the State Department, prohibited domestic dissemination of the materials produced by such programs as one of its provisions. James, you're saying that the Smith-Mundt Act both created propaganda and also insisted that that propaganda not be disseminated locally? And yes. So the government gave a license to a kitchen that could make food, but they can't serve the food locally. Yes. Why not? Because it's poison. Oh. And we're the good guys. Of course we're the good guys. Of course. Of course we're the good guys. Why would you ask such a question? Look, we have to have a kitchen that serves poison food because we're the good guys. Because. And it all comes down to Nazis. We have to do this. We have to do it because of the Nazis. And what I'm telling you is literally what happened. And this act began in 1945. This was not a, hey, let's go home and wash our boots off of the blood and the mud of the war. Let's reflect on what happened. Let's be thankful for liberating this country. Let's be thankful for our boys over there. Let's thank you for your service. Instead of all that, we were immediately saying we have to create a kitchen that serves poison food, and the poison food has to be distributed to every other country around because we're the good guys and we won the war. That was immediately the priority. Started in 45. Some of you might say, but Smith-Mundt passed in 48. I know, isn't that interesting? It started in 45. Started in there. It was started by a Republican, by the way. A Republican who had the exact same track record as Joseph McCarthy. McCarthy was a cross-party guy. He wanted to run as a Democrat. Didn't work. Decided to switch to Republican. Got elected. How did he get elected? Fear-mongering. What happened to Moon? Exact same story. Exact same footsteps. Got here in the same way. There's one difference, though. Smith-Mundt got here by eating the shorts of McCarthy. Remember that expression, eat my shorts? Moon ate McCarthy's shorts in this hearing.
It's now established testimony that you did know him and that you do know him. There's some doubt about the name, but no question about your having known the individual. Were you or were you not a communist? This committee never had any illusions that we would be able to prove definitely whether or not you are a communist, because in dealing with people charged with being communists over a period of years, we have found that those who are guilty refuse to admit it and dodge the question or deliberately lie. We know that we cannot get the records of the Communist Party, we can't get their membership cards, but that was a point we couldn't hope to establish by verifiable evidence. And it's now a point in dispute.
Okay. Okay, so it turns out there's this test, and it's called a PCS test. It's called a PCS test. Political Communist, damn, I already forgot what I was going to say S was going to stand for. Political Communist, because I can't be R. That would totally give it away. It's the PCS test, Political Communist Spy Test. Yeah. And as you just heard from Mr. Moon, there's no proof for it. There's no documentation for it. We can't isolate the communist inside you, but we can have a test that can test for the marker of the communist, even though we've actually never isolated it. But this marker is there because we have all these other people that are afraid of communists too, and they've decided that here's the litmus, here's the screening, political communist screening test. That's what it is, PCS. And this PCS can be applied, even though, as Munn just told you, there's absolutely no evidence that's going to be able to prove or verify any of this. Munn didn't have a problem with McCarthyism hunting down communists. No. This chair hearing is about an Army intimidation case where McCarthy wanted someone in the Army to get a certain job. At no point is Munn criticizing McCarthy for creating a blind litmus test for what makes someone infected with communism, right? That was never a debate. The test was never an issue. If we won the war, why were we so paranoid? If we just kicked the crap out of the bad guys, why do we have such this tenable resolve to infiltrate ourselves and each other? What brought on that if we won the war? And if we won the war, why can't we question the war that we won? Wouldn't that be a privilege of the people that won the war? That not only could they question the very war that they won, that would be their right, just like the winning soccer team could actually say, hey, can we look at the replay of that last goal? That would be our right, a privilege that we would have. And that exact same privilege would allow you and me to doubt anything at all. We could doubt freely anything at all because we lived in a country that had a system in place where doubting was considered a natural resource, right? If we won the war, we would be able to question everything. We would be able to say everything. We would be safe from bad guys if we won the war. And the last time we, as a collective country that had something called an army, the last time that we were ever able to declare war, as defined in the Constitution, was 1942. Before the war had even ended, our last hurrah as a nation with a Republican militia has never spoken since. But we won that war, right? I mean, we did win that war. Now, I don't have $4.4 million. So, when we question the war, you and I now have to realize that there's a chance that I could be fined $4.4 million for having a discussion about the war. And right now, even though we won the war, it is a felony to question or shed doubt on that war. It's an international felony. I'm going to classify it that way. It is a misdemeanor. It is a real bona fide misdemeanor. As of 2 years ago, it is a real bona fide misdemeanor to question this war in Florida on any government campus, especially a university. A veteran who survived the USS Liberty can be imprisoned or fined for going to the school and simply giving his eyewitness account of what happened as one of the few survivors of the USS Liberty. That's a felony in a country that won the war. The Smith-Mundt Act changed because the people that won the war saw that, hey, this restaurant that we've authorized to serve poisoned food outside of our jurisdiction, we don't like this. We want to modernize it. This is an old relic of the war, we said. And in 2012, yes, we can. In 2012, we took that old relic and we modernized it. And we decided that the restaurant was no longer going to participate in this shady activity where it distributes poison elsewhere and doesn't distribute it at home. That was too messy, it was too sloppy, and nay, it wasn't moral. And the good guys who won the war decided that the best way to modernize that relic of a law, born in the paranoid witch hunts of McCarthyism, born from the lips of witch hunters in our Congress who had lost the power of war and could only find the energy to cannibalize each other on stage. That those people who won the war said, we will no longer poison outsiders because we will now poison insiders too. And that this restaurant will not stop making poisoned food. It will simply serve everyone equally. Equally. And that was modernized 10 years ago. And look at what's happened. Look at what's happened. What did Alex Jones do? He doubted the narrative. And he doubted the food from the very kitchen that told him, hey, all this poison we've been trying to make sure you don't get, we're just going to serve it to you too. This case is interesting to me because we're not holding people who believe propaganda responsible. We're holding the people that said the propaganda responsible. And I think this is a huge, colossal, irreversible mistake. Because the people that should be on trial actually should be the people that harassed the families. That should be the trial. And that trial, it will come out, well, I was listening to false information. Well, what this judge will only accept in her courtroom. Sorry. The only answer that she will accept in her courtroom, if this was a trial for the person who actually harassed one of the families, that they could tell her, oh, but judge, I was told information. And that information turned out to be poison. And that information was a propaganda that hit me so hard that I had no choice but to act. And I came to investigate, I came to harass the people that I thought were lying. And I did that because I got information from someone named Alex Jones. That would be the trial that would be if the good guys won. And in that trial, maybe if the system worked, the person that harassed the family would lose a settlement of $4.4 million. And then that person would, check it out, would then take Alex Jones to court. And that this lady should be presiding over a case between the harasser of a family and the family. And later, this same lady or another judge like her would also see a case in which the harasser has brought a suit against Alex Jones. And that those would be two completely different suits because we live in a land of sovereign adults. But we don't have that now because the sovereign adults can't be held responsible for believing what they're told. That's not on trial. The actions of the people that were moved by the poison that was served by the restaurant are never responsible. In this case, it is always the restaurant and the restaurant of Alex Jones, according to this lady, is doing exactly the same thing that our government is. Exactly the same thing. But one's okay and one's not. And all this fits under this weird tent of we're the good guys. And so, of course, we can poison people. Alex Jones, he's a bad guy. He can't poison people. That's wrong. What, are you kidding? You gonna go around poisoning people? What, James? Are we gonna go around justifying people poisoning people? So think about what Alex Jones did. Alex Jones is guilty of doubting the media, and that same media was told, published, explained for decades, almost a century, that same media has had an agreement that the people that give them licenses to broadcast that media would be participating in the manufacturing of poison to be disseminated along the same bandwidth lines, but just not domestically. Now, if we're the good guys, why did we not repeal that law? And you know the answer. And this goes so far back, right? Like so far back. Most of World War II was run by these fake armies.
It was a little bundle of stuff, all compressed before you opened the bundle, spread the nozzles around, and inflated it.
The artillery piece was good, but that M4 tank, that was the beauty. That was a piece of work.
Like I tell my children, was the biggest boombox you ever saw, but it played sounds of tanks and activity.
We had plastic clown armies. There's a presentation, I don't have the episode right now, but I've got a live stream on this. This is actually old stuff, but it's directly related to why aren't you giving me my mouse back? It's directly related to what Alex Jones is going through now, because this is what Smith-Mundt does. This is what it's always done. Oh, come on, where'd you go? Battle of the Kegs, even before Smith-Mundt. Did you realize that one of the most pivotal battles that started the war, and it began by ordnance floated down the river and shot with rifles, just to make the sides finally get to battle, just to make them kill each other? It was a lie. We have this entire continent that's being used as a staging area for high and low altitude Satelloons. Technology that's so big it's larger than a football field. And the very same company says, no, we have to poison the public. We can't tell them what we're doing. We have to poison them. This airfield right here, it's completely fake.
What you're seeing here, pretty much everything in here except the buildings is a dummy.
It's all fake, guys.
That's all deception stuff. That's all the visual piece of it. And this is a pretty important one because this is the setup for the crossing of the Rhine.
These aren't minor instances. These are high treason offenses authorized by this idea of
And he created
poison.
the first anechoic chamber,
legalized poison.
which is now standard in broadcasting
While
studios,
Smith-Mundt
but
was
that
being
the first one, and it
enacted,
was
this
done
technology-
so that they could calibrate this stuff. So they could adjust the sound to the distances, the humidity, the type of terrain, so that somebody hearing it on the other side isn't hearing an obvious recording. What they're hearing, or they think they're hearing psychologically, is whatever you're broadcasting.
While Smith-Mundt was happening, we were building these devices.
Radio deception. If you're going to have somebody, they're going to be imitating two full divisions at a time as their maximum capability. That's over 30,000 soldiers with all their equipment. And they have big radio nets. They're blasting radio signals all over, trying to coordinate that. Well, they had a complete set of divisional radios. Every size and power strength of a radio, they had it.
See, it's not just NASA. It's not. It's so much bigger.
They also would do things like feigning drunkenness. So a couple of guys would pretend to be drunk. They'd walk into a bar already half lit, and they'd say something they shouldn't. All practiced. Here's another aerial. You saw one earlier. Again, you've got your tracks, you've got your stuff lined up. That's all dummy equipment as part of the deception.
It just keeps getting more and more deceptive. You know, we look now at how profoundly silly some of the ops are, but you have to understand how much gumption it took to pass on some of these.
This is Irving Meyer. This is Irving Meyer. Meyer was with the 406th Engineers, which are combat engineers. They were trained alongside the airborne, minus the parachute jumping. They were the toughest guys in the unit, and they provided security, and when they needed real combat troops for part of a deception or for security, they used the 406th
They weren't combat,
engineers.
they were propaganda.
Normally you don't look for engineers, you look for infantry for that. These guys were very, very highly trained. Well, he went back to Pratt Institute, and where the other guys had studied art, he studied engineering. Irving Meyer is the father of that particular peculiar piece of hardware. Anybody know what that is? Davy Crockett. And why is that significant, sir? That is the first tactical nuclear round that the infantry had. Irving is one of the three.
Right. He's an artist. He's an artist. Do you know why they hired an artist to make a tactical nuke? Do you know why? Do you know why they were like, we need a tactical nuke because we're the good guys, we need a tactical nuke to send on the battlefield. Who should we hire? They hired an artist. An artist in the deception department was tasked with building a tactical nuke. Thousands of them deployed. 0 of them were ever fired because of A, it wasn't a nuke, and B, people were terrified. They were terrified of it. In fact, that's why it was designed that way. It was designed purposely. There is no such thing as an aerodynamic vehicle, or missile, I should say, that looks like this. It doesn't happen because it was never supposed to be fired. Irving Meyer was a con artist. And he was employed by the war. And there were lots of them. Entire infantries of people whose entire job was to lie, to make inflatable equipment, to lead fake stormings, to control the entire narrative at Normandy. Let me see if I can find you that clip. Normandy.
These are some of the guys. There's Arthur Shilstone there on the left. Seymour next to him. All the way on the left is John Jarvie, who was a member of our board, who has since passed away. And Nick Leo on the far right. Nick isn't one of the Jewish soldiers, but he's interesting in that he went into Omaha Beach the night of D-Day, and they were going to run a radio deception, and turned out that the 82nd Airborne lost a lot of its radio gear in the jump into Normandy. And so instead of being a deception, for about 2 weeks, they were the radio voice of the 82nd Airborne.
Did you hear that? For 2 weeks, these 4 guys were the only source of radio communication at Normandy and for 2 weeks after. Did you hear that? 4 guys. 4 guys. Oh, well, we jumped out and we forgot the radio. And then the guy in the plane decided, oh, they forgot the radio. All of them did. We need to throw the radios out. Oh, they hit the rocks. Oh, what a silly mistake. I wonder if there's someone down there who can help us stay connected during the most vital operation, the pinnacle of the war itself. We need a radio. Who are we going to call for help? Where are we going to find a radio? Sir, there is a deception division just 3 clicks to the south. My God, man. It's as if God was here guiding us. He sent these 4 men to help us not be deceived. Alex Jones was doubting the media that told him, hey, we're going to poison you. And he was doubting that dish. And people were harassed. And do you know why people were harassed? Because we live in a country that's said, hey, us, the government, we're going to poison all of you. And we're going to license the companies that broadcast things. We're going to be the ones in charge of whether or not they get to broadcast. And whether or not they get to broadcast is going to be based directly on how well they help us poison you. How well they do that. Did you guys know that Moon didn't just hunt communists? That he founded the Voice of America. And it became his most important mission to have this ability to poison the well. That it was necessary for national security because, hey, we're the good guys. And the only way a good guy could poison anyone is if they were the good guys. It's the only way this works. The only way we could poison our own citizens. Do you realize how much of a good guy we would have to be in order for us to be able to poison our own citizens? Do you understand? That's a lot of good guy, right? It's a lot of it. And it doesn't stop, right? It doesn't stop. What do clowns have? Balloons, right? They inflate balloons and they make noises behind them. Look at the windows. Look at the spooks. This is Smith-Mundt. This is what they get to do to you with Smith-Mundt. And this trial is setting up this idea that that the people that we are going to hold responsible where is my mouse? I can't believe how long that takes. That the people we're going to hold responsible are not the people that believe it, or not the people that physically act on it. It's going to be the people that are making it harder for us to lie. That's who we're going to hold accountable. It's hard to be Alex Jones because of how many calories it takes to constantly be vigilant and doubt things. And if you saw my talk with Rose 777 and RV videos, I guess, RV something. RV was really mad because I wasn't willing to accept on blind faith that that something was a hoax. And it wasn't that I didn't believe him. It was that I hadn't applied the necessary discernment that I require in order to be able to feel something or have an opinion about something. That I would be just as evil and just as poisonous if I was to do what RV was trying to reprimand me for not doing, which was not doubting, but swallowing a different version of the same poison. It's so easy to fall for this stuff. And it's so easy to look for a quick way out. And RV's way out is Alex Jones's way out. And maybe that's the reason why RV even has viewers, because he's able to hide as a sacred clown. He's able to hide under the auspices of, well, I didn't actually research that, or I didn't actually listen to that, or I didn't actually see that. I don't need to see those things to know the truth, is what he says. That would probably be the only way that we could have truth in the room, because the other people would be able to easily see it and dismiss it as, that's just retard talk. That's just what some people say who don't have the calories to look, who don't have the calories to check things out. And I think that's where we fail each other the most. When we blindly accept these things, Epstein Island, Pizzagate, whatever, I don't know about this one because I haven't looked into that. It wasn't on my radar at the time. I wasn't even awake. And why have I not applied calories to it? Because there's literally new poison falling from the skies every day. That's the only reason why. The reason why I haven't gone back is because there's such a fresh supply of poison at Fountainhead that's spilling every day that it just hasn't come up yet. I haven't personally gone back and given 3 or 4 days. Right now, I've got this thing I want to talk about with Noah. And I'm now 7 days, 10 days behind because I've had to read 3 books and really push harder to learn more Paleo Hebrew. Why? Because I know what doubt is. I love doubt. And I love how good it feels to find a place that is doubt-proof, or at least feels doubt-proof for a while. I consider it a special thing. And I pride myself on the ability to score these little trinkets on my walks, even if they turn out to be fool's gold at home. It doesn't matter. It's the journey to this place that really sets you apart. And Alex Jones doesn't need to be someone that I agree with. I think that he's showing everyone who the good guys really are. Because it's not us. It's not America. It's nothing close to what our country keeps doing over and over and over again. It's so far away from that I don't know if we'll ever get there. I just don't. So, I wrote a new short, or edited a new short, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to play it for you now. Hope you like it. It has not appeared on YouTube yet because I was afraid if I did that, just in case, YouTube has a weird thing about my shorts. I don't know if you guys have noticed that or not, but sometimes they don't like my shorts, and I wanted to at least get a live stream out. So probably be safer mixed in with this live stream because it has other text. There's this song by Bob Dylan. I already screwed it up. I'm gonna play it for you guys though, even though I screwed up the start there. There's this song by Bob Dylan called Ballad of a Thin Man. It's the story of a reporter named Mr. Jones who stumbles into reality and discovers that it's just a giant illusion.
Will you raise your right hand, please, sir? You do solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
It goes like this. You walk into the room with your pencil in your hand. You see somebody naked and you say, "Who is that man?" You try so hard, but you don't understand just what you will say when you get home.
Mr. Jones? I want to go back to when this all started. And in fairness to you, one of the things that you've tried to make clear is that you're not the one who started the theory, correct?
Yes.
Because something is happening here, but you don't know what it is, do you, Mr. Jones?
Can you play the clip?
But get a hold of your cousin when she settles down and get her to talk to us for any other information. We need to know, were there any drills that day or the day before? Does she know anything?
Ultimately, Alex is on trial for doubting the news that keeps lying to him. At the end of World War II, the Smith-Mundt Act was developed to regulate broadcasting of programs for foreign audiences under the guidance of the State Department. The act was amended in 2012 to allow for materials produced by the State Department to be disseminated within the United States. Because something is happening here, but you don't know what it is, do you, Mr. Jones?
Well, I'm just saying that the trauma of the media and the corporations lying so much, then everything begins, you don't trust anything anymore. Kind of like a child whose parents lied to them over and over again. Well, pretty soon they don't know what reality is. So long before these lawsuits, I said that in the past I thought everything was a conspiracy.
The last time Congress declared war was 1942.
What you're seeing here, pretty much everything in here except the buildings is a dummy. That's all deception stuff. That's all the visual piece of it. And this was a pretty important one because this is the setup for the crossing of the Rhine. All practiced. They got approval to impersonate officers. This is Irving Meyer. Meyer was with the 406th Engineers, which are combat engineers. For part of a deception or for security, they used the 406th Engineers. Irving Meyer is the father of that particular peculiar piece of hardware. Anybody know what that is? Davy Crockett. And why is that significant, sir? That is the first tactical nuclear round.
It's painful that we have to question big public events. I think that's essentially part of the First Amendment. I did not take your indictment or your presumed conviction of me as the villain.
You guys have a great day. We got Dojo today. We got a radio show tonight on Dojo Earth. We got all kinds of things.